So the other day I woke up to an email from Apple and it said something to the effect of, your Apple ID information has been updated. And then it said password. And I said, uh-oh. And then I see another second email that said, your Apple ID information has been updated. Email address. And I said, oh my God, someone broke into my Apple account, changed my password and email address. So I said, oh, for God's sake. So I went immediately to the computer and I looked, and sure enough, I couldn't log into my Apple account. I don't use an iPhone, I use Android, but of course I use iTunes, and I have a lot of credit in there, as I mentioned. So I'm trying to log in, I try to do a recovery with previous email addresses, it doesn't work, and then I see another email that says that, your account has bought some weird Chinese letters app from the App Store, and I said, yep, this is happening. And it said this account was accessed from China. Great. Thanks, Apple. I guess you don't have that much security where you'd think that if someone logs into your Apple account from China, immediately changes the password and email address, that would set off a little red flag, don't you think? So I contact Apple support, and what basically happened, I think, is someone got my password from a previous breach, probably Adobe, and I was using the same password on there, and I never changed it on Apple. And I was using the same password and same email address, and someone, I guess, went through that old database of breaches and found mine and tried it, and it worked. So then what they did is, once they were in, they added a new device. And the reason for this is because then after that, even though they had my username and email address changed, they still couldn't change my recovery questions, because that you need to either answer the recovery questions or verify that you're the person that owns the account. So what they did is, because they couldn't have full control of the account, they added a device, which I guess they can do. Then they contacted Apple support, who said, okay, yeah, we can remove the recovery questions, we just have to verify your account. We can use a device. So then they verified it using the device they just added, and then after that they had full control. So I pieced this together from the emails and also contacting support myself. So I spent maybe an hour and a half on the phone with Apple, and they were saying, okay, yeah, we can, this is pretty obviously a hack, because, you changed immediately the password and email, and it's in China. So obviously you're not in China, so we just got to figure out how you can get it back, because usually the system works by verifying some sort of piece of information in the account, but because they changed everything, there was nothing that I could verify. So they escalated me to a bunch of different people, and eventually they gave me a senior account compromise person, and they were able to verify my account through my iPad. I guess the person never removed my iPad from my account, so I was able to use that. And then also they were able to look back and see my iPhone, and they asked for my iPhone serial number, even though I didn't use it, and I don't think it was even attached to the account at that point. They were able to look back and say, okay, yeah, that's the same serial number. So they were able to verify using that information, and then basically change everything back to my information. I was able to reset my password once they were on the phone, so I was back in. But then, even after that, I log in, and they're like, yeah, you're gonna have to change your security questions. So I said, all right, I'll just log in and do that. Then I look in the security questions, and there's no way to reset them, and their questions are in Chinese, and I'm like, awesome. So to reset the security questions, I had to contact Apple again and say, look, I was just on the phone. They told me to reset the security questions, but they're in Chinese, and so they verified using my iPad again, and then they reset the security questions, and of course, now I have it all locked down, it's all set. But before that, they were saying, yeah, did you buy anything in the past week? And I'm like, no. And they're like, yeah, because it shows they used $70 worth of your iTunes credit to buy some stupid app or in-game app or something like that. So I'm like, great, can you refund that? So they did. They refunded it within 48 hours. Apparently it'll be refunded. But it just goes to show, luckily I didn't have any credit card attached to it, but it just goes to show that, you in a second, You know, someone can break in, and they obviously had a system to it because the emails I got were all within maybe 5 minutes of each other. They were able to completely take control of it from the point where they first logged in to and changed the password to when they verified it and everything. So within 5 minutes they had control of it. So I just wanted to make this video to tell you guys, you really need to lock down all your accounts, especially ones where you have credit cards attached and store credit. All you have to do, what I didn't do, what I had on my account was a primary email address and a secondary email address. I did not have a recovery email address. Well, I thought the secondary email address was that, but apparently it wasn't. Anyway, so now what I did is I have a primary email address, a recovery email address. I enabled two-factor authentication, which you do have to be careful with, because if you lose your phone that you use to verify, then you basically can't get into the account ever. But as long as you're smart with it, two-factor authentication is probably the best way to verify anything. So now I have it completely locked down, you know, a stronger password. Everything is good to go, but I wanted to let you guys know that no one is above password security. I was just putting it off because I was like, well, if they haven't hacked into it by now, whatever. And it was a crap password, let's be honest. I had it was like less than 8 characters. It was all lowercase and like one number, I think, was this account, because I had changed all my other passwords and except this one for some reason. I never got around to it. And that's not a good thing to do, because it took several years for them to break into my account, and just someone tried it, but they did eventually. So if you're putting off changing a password on one of your accounts at this moment, you know, like you've been waiting to get around to it, do it now, because it's gonna get broken into. And like I said, it doesn't have to be someone trying to break into your specific iTunes account or whatever. They might look at a forum you signed up for 5 years ago, forgot about it, but you used the same password on there. It got breached, and now they have the username and password to any other account you used that same information on. So change your passwords, guys, regularly. Make sure it's secure. Have backup email addresses. Don't use the same password twice, especially on important accounts. And I guess that is my story. I just wanted to tell the story. Hopefully it was a little bit interesting, and maybe let you guys know that it's a pain to get your account back. Luckily, Apple is a pretty big company that has processes for recovering your account. But if it was like a Google account or something where Google is notoriously hard to get a hold of, then you might be even more in trouble. So change your passwords, guys. Be secure. Use a strong password and change it. And I made another video talking about how to tell if any of your email accounts had been compromised in a previous breach. The URL is haveibeenowned.com, and I'll link to that video as well. It's a great website where you just type in your email address and it'll tell you if that email address appears in any breaches. So then you can say, all right, well, obviously this account was breached in the Adobe breach 5 years ago and I never knew about it, so I better change any other similar passwords. So definitely do that, and if you guys have any other thoughts, be sure to let me know in the comments section. If you want to check out some other videos on the right-hand side, you can either click them or look in the description for the same link, like if you're on a phone. And if you want to subscribe, I make new videos 3 times a week, so I think it should be worth it, and I'm always looking forward for feedback, so if you have any suggestions, hit me up on Twitter or in the comments section below. So thanks for watching, guys. Hopefully you found this helpful, maybe a little bit entertaining. So I will see you next time. Have a good one.